Um, we're just gonna start because this is also for YouTube, so I don't want there to be like a huge break in between me introducing and then starting reading. So here we go. Chapter 4. So Jay had just realized or got the news that a serum has been released that gives people superpowers. It was the end of chapter 3. And now we are beginning with chapter 4. Don't know how long this will be, but we're going to see. Chapter 4. Jay dials Tucker's number as he's pacing back and forth in the living room. Yo, Tucker answers. Boy, did you see the news? What? Turn on the news. Jay waits patiently as Tucker does so. He smiles. Boy, Tucker says. Right? Hang on, let me call Kendra. Jay hangs up on Tucker before dialing and calling his other friend. Ken, did you? I'm already watching it, Jay, Kendra says. Don't tell me you're gonna get this. You're not? Jay, Tom said that there's no guarantee of anyone surviving the process. Who the hell is Tom? The anchorman. Oh, well, Jay looks around at the room as he rubs his face in disappointment. I gotta go. Jay hangs up and redials Tucker. Tucker answers. Dude, you didn't say bye. What? You didn't say bye. People only hang up on others in movies. I was calling you right back. Still, you saying bye makes me feel all fuzzy inside. Shut up. Jay looks up and smiles as his mother walks in. She's back from the hospital. Hey, Mom. He goes back to his conversation with Tucker. Can you believe Ken wasn't on board? I mean, I'm not crazy about it either. Dying doesn't sound too fun, plus, I can't leave Ava behind. Jay walks to a window and stares outside. He sees the outside, but it feels empty. Dude, Kendra and I have seen you hanging around the Durante family. Everything good? Tucker questions. Yeah, it's just. I need the money. I didn't have anywhere else to run. Rent was due. Jay sighs. Damn, I wish I could have helped. Nah, don't worry about it. If I knew you were stuck, I would have tried to help. You gotta tell me what's going on when you run into problems, man. Tucker presses. It's cool, Tuck. There's always another option. Well, Jay says, what would you have done? Silence. Jay's heartbeat speeds up at the thought that there could have been another out and questions if he chose wrong. He questions if he used paying rent and the hospital bill as fodder when he really just wanted to be involved and a part of something. Tucker speaks up. Good question. Can't answer. Ava's here. I'll talk to you later, dude. Yeah. Bye. Jay hangs up the phone and shoves it. Wait, I lost the spot. Hang on. Oh boy. Oh no. Okay. Jay hangs up the phone and shoves it in his pocket. He continues to stare out the window. Instead of seeing nothing, he now focuses on his reflection frowning in the window. The next day, Jay gets home and opens the mailbox. He looks inside and sees a bill. He frantically opens the envelope and stares at his hand and stares with his hand shaking from seeing the hospital bill. Miss Crawford exits her side of the house and locks the door behind her. She turns to see Jay. Ah, Mr. Jones, she says. Jay doesn't look up from the bill. Rent is still due. It's almost been a full week. One more day and, yeah, Jay cuts her off. I would hate to. Jay looks up from the bill and glares at Miss Crawford as if his look could pierce through her soul. I used that pierce analogy twice. I like the pierce analogy. I get it, he says. He walks back into his house, leaving Miss Crawford standing motionless. Jay is sitting in front of Durante, who chews on a cigar. Isaac stands behind the boss with his arms folded. Ignitro is nowhere to be seen. Where's Mateo? Jay asks. I don't know why I said that name weird. Where's Mateo? Jay asks. Durante pulls out a lighter and lights a cigar. Out. Meeting with someone, I think. Shame I gotta light my own cigar. He looks at Jay as he continues to light it. Jay stalls. I could use a favor, sir. I thought we were already doing you one, Durante says. I just paid you. You are, and you have, boss, but it's just. Durante squints at Jay. Just what, kid? It's not enough. There are, let's call them deadlines, coming up. Durante leans forward. Deadlines for. Jay takes a deep breath before speaking. Rent's due. And we just got a hospital bill in the mail today. My mother was mugged and she had a heart attack. Durante stares at Jay. Shame. How much you need? 10,000 total. Durante leans back and pulls out a drawer from his desk. He digs around before he pulls out a stack of cash. 50,000 cover it. That might be a little much, Jay says. Nonsense, kid, not for the stuff you've done. I mean, it's exceptional. You haven't even fought on the jobs I've sent you on, and you fit right in. You might have a gift. I don't know what to say. Thank you. Speaking of gift, Ignitro walks in. Jay gets up to leave. Durante says. Isaac steps from behind Durante's desk and walks to Jay. He hands Jay a raincoat and leather gloves. Go with Mateo and Isaac. I said his name weird again. I don't know why I keep doing that. Go with Mateo and Isaac. They'll brief you on the way. Jay is sitting squished in the back seat of an SUV with Ignitro on his right and Isaac on his left. Jay looks back and forth at the both of them. Durante said you guys would brief me. Ignitro sighs. There's no need for that. The truck slows to a stop. Out. Now, Ignitro commands. Ignitro steps out with Jay following behind him. Isaac gets out on his side. It's dark outside with only one light coming from flickering dim yellow streetlights. They're near a highway underpass, but Jay can't hear any cars or people nearby. The only noise he hears is a dog barking and the constant humming of the flickering lights, with the combined humming of what Jay believes to be cicadas. Cicadas or cicadas? I say cicadas. The building they're standing in front of has no lights on the outside and is shaped just like a giant gray cube. They walk up to the front door and Ignitro opens it. Jay trails behind both Ignitro and Isaac trails behind both Ignitro and Jay. Stay close. There's a flash and a small flame floats above Ignitro's hand. They approach another door. Ignitro snuffs the flame before he kicks this door open. It's cicadas, right? Yeah, I thought so. Thanks, Brianna. Man in the... Where was I? I'm sorry. There was a flash and a small flame... There's a flash and a small flame floats above Ignitro's hand. They approach... I did write this. It's a full-length book. I have no way of marketing it right now. And I'm working with an editor right now to get this ready. It releases April 2nd. And yeah, it's a full-length book, so I'm just reading as much as I can every day until we reach the end. Just so people have if they can't pay for it, they have some sort of way to know what's going on in this story. That's so lovely. I think that's amazing. I also love to write. That's awesome. What kind of stuff do you write? They approach the door. Nitro snuffs the flame before he kicks the door open. A man in the middle of the room jumps from the noise. There's only a single light bulb swinging above the table the man sits at, just as yellow and dim as the light outside. Hands on the table, Isaac bellows. The man lays his hand on the table. As Jay walks up to the man, he can see the man has already been interrogated due to the bruises and scars covering his body. The look on Jay's face changes from sympathetic to angered because in his mind the man looks similar to Hector. If you don't know, Hector is the one that mugged his mother and gave his mother a heart attack. Just get what you can out of him, Ignitro says. I told you all I know, the man says, panting heavily. Lies, Isaac retorts. Why do you want me to do it? It seems like you already did a number on him, Jay says. Dad wants you to get your hands dirty, Nitro explains. You've had it a little too easy, especially considering the amount he's paying you and the pay raise you just got. Jay thinks to himself, wondering if this is really still for his mother or if he let things get out of control. He was sure this was illegal, and the Durantes might want to use it against him should he ever consider leaving. And here, Ignitro and Isaac were here to watch him. I only write nonfiction, and I write sporadically about philosophy. Mainly, I will just journal thoughts or just tangibilize the various philosophies in my mind. Okay. I feel vexed by certain issues. I'll feel compelled to write about them. Something wonderfully creative about these fictional stories, though. I don't have that in me. Well, writing's not for everyone, but that's good you find some sort of expression in writing. That's what I use it for. I started creating these characters and stuff when I was like in sixth grade. So I started to take it more seriously last year. I have like 8 books in the series done already. But there is something about writing that allows me to be creatively free. Like you can make whatever your mind imagines through writing, and yeah, that's dope. I it's a good way to express yourself. I agree. Yeah. What kind of philosophies, if you don't mind sharing? What was that? And here, Ignitro and Isaac were here to watch him, to make sure he did his job. He felt betrayed, considering that he was starting to like them as people, friends even. They'd probably kill him if he didn't do this. He's already seen enough that he could probably shut down the organization. He needed to make sure they trusted him so they wouldn't want to do anything to hurt him. This was for survival at this point, but it didn't hurt that this man looked like the man who mugged his mother. Maybe that's why they caught him. Did they know? Jay grabs the man's fingers. He feels the coarseness of the man's fingers and more scars that he can't see. They're both breathing heavily now. Jay bends one of the man's fingers back until it snaps. The man exclaims, I wrote "ga" in capital letters, but that's kind of silly to say out loud. When you're reading it, it makes more sense. Snapping something snaps in Jay's mind where he thinks of Hector's wickedly smiling face. You, Jay says as he punches the man across the face. The man hangs his head low in response. Jay looks at his own bloodied fist. Jesus, the man says. Jay looks back at Ignitro and Isaac. Ignitro has his arm out, signaling for Jay to continue. Jay raises a fist over the man and proceeds to repeatedly beat the man in the face, Jay's fist getting bloodier with each connected punch. After the flurries of punches, the man speaks up through a swollen and bloodied face. All right, I'll talk. Jay, with a worried look on his face, looks back at Ignitro and Isaac, questioning what he just did. Ignitro and Isaac are smiling. Good stuff, Ignitro says. It really could be anything: the prison system, ethics, various sociological issues, psychology, spirituality, self-improvement, and health. I've been recently shifted to streaming and rarely write now because most of my expression is just done interacting with people. So do you just chat as well normally? You need to keep doing this though. I must go for now, but I'll follow. Appreciate the follow, Brianna. I will follow you back as well. If you're, just chatting, I'll give you a follow. Thanks for watching. Jay enters his house. The room is dark. The lights are off. He turns to slowly and quietly close the door behind him. Boy, where have you been? Jay spins around to see his mother. He holds his chest with a sigh of relief. Have a good night. He holds his chest with a sigh of relief. Jesus, Mom, you scared. You don't think I've been scared? She gets up to turn on a light and stomps towards Jay. You've been sneaking out at night. I don't know what you've been doing. She grabs Jay's ear and pinches his ear. Wait, she grabs and pinches Jay's ear. He winces in pain. Now, where have you been? They're now sitting next to each other on the couch. She's frowning at him intensely. The Durantes, she shouts. That wasn't a shout, but there's that. Kinda. Didn't I tell you to stay away from them, Jay? Kinda. Jackie sighs. I appreciate you trying to help, but there are better ways to go about this. Like, I don't know right now, but what I do know is that we need to give back the money to those mobsters, she says while getting up and heading towards the door. Jay follows her. I don't think that's the greatest idea, Jay peeps. She spins around to face him. You got a better one? Kinda. They're now sitting in Durante's freezing office in front of the boss himself. Ignitro and Isaac are in their normal, intimidating spots. Jackie has her arms crossed, frowning and clearly upset about the entire situation. There's an envelope of money on the desk. This was your plan, she asked Jay, to sit in front of him and just ask. Jay shrugs. Well, I didn't know if you were going to do anything rash, so... Durante looks up from the envelope before looking at the Joneses. Their last name is Jones. Mrs. Jones, our transactions are final. Jackie leans forward, squinting at Isaac. Isaac stares back uneasily. She points at him. Boy, don't I know your mother, she says, leaning back in her chair. Isaiah, right? Isaac. That's what everyone calls me now. Durante leans forward, his elbows on the desk. Mrs. Jones, the fact that you might know one of my bodyguards doesn't get you off the hook. Once you're in, you're in. Jay and Jackie driving back in her sedan. She slaps Jay in the back of the head. Ow, he exclaims. I will stay quiet, she interrupts. Jay crosses his arms and pouts. 1:30 a.m. They arrive at home. Jackie walks with Jay behind her. She throws the money on a table. I need to sleep over this, Jackie says. I need some sleep over this, Jackie says. The lights are out. Jay sits at the table, staring at the money. 3:05 a.m. Jay sits on the table, staring at the money. 4:55 a.m. Jay has his face close to the envelope. He turns to look at the window and sees a slight orange glow from the rising sun. He grabs the envelope and looks inside of it at the cash. He creeps to the front door and turns and looks back at the house before he opens it and leaves for the hospital. So, by this point, you should know what he's about to do with that money. Chapter 5. The waiting room of the hospital isn't as packed as Jay thought it would be. He's thinking about how many people would actually go through with this procedure as he speaks to his mother on his cell phone. He has a clipboard in his lap with papers for him to fill out, a waiver and sign-up sheet to become a registered superhero. Yeah, there's enough for everything, Mom. Don't worry, it's my decision. I'll let you know how it goes. Love you too, bye. He hangs up and looks down at the clipboard. Then he averts his attention to the clock on the wall that reads 6:01. He looks back at the paper and writes the name Lux on the line provided for super name. So, if you don't know, Lux is light, Latin for light, and that refers to one of the dog tags that he has around his neck that has light on it because his father said his mother and him were the lights of his life. So that's why he chose Lux. And we'll also find out the real reason he has that name. It's just coincidence, but you'll see. He looks up and scans the room. Everyone else in the room fills out their sheets. He leans his head back and sighs. He begins to think about the repercussions of receiving the serum, the possibility of it permanently disfiguring him, and the possibility of it killing him like the news anchor warned. But the timing of the release is too convenient, just as he's graduating high school and trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life. It had to be a sign. He begins to think about the future he could have he could have should the serum kill him. Finding a stable job, finding a girl, settling down, having kids, and growing old. One of which could be possible should it all end today. And of course, he didn't tell his mother about the possibility of it killing him. He knew she would come down and stop him if he did. This was his decision, but he began to think about the reason he was making it. Was it because of the possibility of power, or because there was nothing really he aspired to be in life? Was he getting the serum to have it kill him, or to let fate decide? A nurse walks in. Jay walks up and looks her over. Her fair skin in contrast with the brunette hair, her light green scrubs tightly gripped to her thick body structure. She pulls the surgeon's mask she has over her face to speak clearly. "Jones," she says. "That's me," Jay says as he gets up and walks to the door she's at. She smirks at him. "Follow me, please." In the hallway, Jay trails behind the nurse. He glances at her butt while he continues to look her over after seeing something glimmer from it. He catches a glance of a cybernetic tail slightly revealing itself through her midriff. He looks confused, thinking the serum only gives people powers or kills them, not adds mechanical appendages to them. He believes it to be the work of someone else, someone not very subtle with cybernetics. Jay follows the nurse into a serum operating room. The room is dimly lit from bulbs with greenish tint. There's an assortment of machines in the room, but they are all against the wall. There is a sleek walk-in chamber in front of an operating table with an electric panel of knobs, levers, and buttons behind the table. The nurse gestures to Jay on the table. "If you will," she says. His heart rate increases as he takes in the situation. Something he's in that could kill him. It was worse than any of the assignments Durante sent him on. He knows the danger of it. Next to the table stands an intimidating Dr. Daiichi. If you follow me on Instagram, he's mentioned a lot since I've began to explain the who the characters are in each character picture that I post. This is that famed doctor that invented this serum that gives people superpowers. So he turns to face the two and smiles. Jay is freaked out by him more because he can't see the doctor's eyes through his glass lenses. He has that anime glint going on. So he has a bald head and scruffy but shaped facial hair. The doctor approaches Jay with a clean hand extended. "Mr. Jones, I presume," Dr. Daiichi says through his toothy grin. "You presume correctly," Jay says, shaking the doctor's hand. Daiichi holds his hand out at the nurse. "And I assume you've met my assistant, Nurse Addison," he says. Jay turns to look at the nurse again. She smiles and waves her fingers at him. "Yeah," he says. "Very good. Now would you kindly make your way onto the table, please?" Daiichi bows. Jay walks to the table and climbs onto it. Daiichi and Addison walk over to the table as well. They both strap Jay down to the table with belt restraints. "This gonna hurt?" Jay asks. "Nervous?" the doctor asks. "Kinda," Jay responds. "Don't be," says Daiichi. Jay looks at the doctor as he hovers over Jay. He's smiling wickedly. Many survive the process, but at the same time. Dr. Daiichi injects Jay with the serum in his right forearm vein. Many do not. There it was. The thing that Jay was actually waiting to hear. If it didn't feel real to him before, the doctor that invented the serum had just confirmed it for him. This was life or death. They wheel the table over to the chamber. "That's supposed to be comforting," Jay shouts. Daiichi and Addison lift the table so it sits upright and push it into the open chamber. Addison closes the chamber door, and Daiichi walks over to the panel and begins to toy with the knobs. Air pressure increases in the chamber. Daiichi looks over to a lever and looks up at Jay as he pulls it. Immediately, the air in the chamber is difficult to breathe. He imagines that this is what it'd be like to try and breathe in space if one's head didn't explode when trying it. It was as if there was no air to draw from. Jay screams as Daiichi smiles at his creation. All Jay sees from the chamber is the lights reflecting off Daiichi's glasses. I think it's. Is it Daiichi? Like Daiichi or Daichi? Probably shouldn't name him something that could be pronounced two ways if it's pronounced two different ways. But we'll continue. In a different operating room, another doctor stands at a panel watching a different subject scream in pain. Next to the doctor is another assistant similar to Addison, complete with cybernetic arms, but no tail. The lights shut off. The only thing that can be seen in the dark is the light coming from the subject's chamber. However, another light within the chamber flashes, shocking the subject in the face. Fuck! The subject exclaims. That was a bad scream, but I'm not gonna scream. Dr. Daiichi stands directly in front of Jay's chamber. Oh, now look at what you've done. I hope nothing's malfunctioned for your sake. In both operating rooms, the chamber doors open and in both operating rooms, the chamber doors open and both Jay and the other subject drop to their knees. The steam escapes from the chamber behind them. The first thing they do, the first thing they both do is take an enormous breath of fresh hospital lab air. Jay physically feels different. There's something pulsating within his body, something that needs to escape. He no longer feels like a normal human. He looks at his hands, arms, and legs and feet. Nothing has physically changed. The best thing he can think of at the moment is that he survived the process. He stands up and looks at Daiichi with glowing green energy flowing from his eyes. So you're about to find out why he was named Lux. The subject frowns as he looks down at his own fingers. His fingernails have extended to an absurd length and are silver-colored. He stands and looks at the doctor. "What the fuck is this?" the subject asks. "Please, Mr. Blade. That's it? My goddamn face is scarred and this is all you have to show for it?" the subject asks. "And don't call me Mr. Blade." "I'm sorry, Jack," the doctor says. "We can't control the abilities we give to people." "You best believe my father's gonna hear about this asshole," Jack says, storming out of the lab. Dr. Daiichi is now smirking at Jay. The energy emitting from Jay's eyes dissipates from him and gives light back to the facility. They all hum as they turn on. "Energy manipulation. I've seen this a few times before," Daiichi says. Addison shoots the doctor a look. So that's why he's called Lux. He has energy manipulation, but he has a slew of other powers that you will learn when the time comes. Jay looks down at his hands. The area around them glows green. Energy what now? "It seems you've gained the ability to manipulate raw energy and emit it. We could test multiple forms to see which..." "Nah, I think I'm good." "What?" "That's enough excitement for one day," Jay says. Jay says just happy that he's alive. And not only is he alive, he now has superpowers. Daiichi looks at Jay with concern. "Very well. But you still must register with the Alpha Corps as a superpowered human." "The what?" "It's the organization built to protect normal humans from superpowered ones, and to protect the normal humans from the aliens. Also, there are reserves just in case the alien threat returns," Daiichi explains. "I'm sure you've heard or read this already." You didn't read the papers, did you?" "No." Daiichi stands and holds his hand out. Addison walks up to him and places a business card in his hand. Daiichi hands the card to Jay. "Go to this address. It's not far from here. Ask to speak to Commander Asai. If they don't let you in, tell them Dr. Daiichi sent you," the doctor says. "Or you could just put your abilities on display for them. They'll understand." As Jay exits the hospital, he pulls out his phone to find the quickest route to the Alpha Corporation headquarters. He sees that it's near the edge of the city, near the forest. He decides to take the subway, as it is the only method of transportation that will get him as close as possible. He heads to the nearest subway entrance, so he doesn't have a car. A being of lush a being walks through a lush green emerald forest. Wait, a lush emerald forest, the grass caressing its feet as it makes its way to its destination. Although the forest looks beautiful, everything else about it is off. There are no birds chirping, there's no breeze, no wildlife. The being cannot help but think that even the sunlight poking through the branches above is feigned. It comes up on a thicket and pushes through to step out into a pitted area of the forest. A perfect circle. The being looks around, noticing the grass is cut as far down as it can go without showing the dirt beneath it. The being looks up to see the other three creatures similar to it. They all look at the being. The one with a dark orange to brown tint speaks up. You're late, Athen, it says. Athen looks at the dark-skinned man standing to the left of the orange being. Is this the human, Zael? Athen asks, his pupils slightly dilating at the sight of the man. I added that little note because dilation means you like something you see. I believe that's what it is. The orange being called Zael nods. These are the two that will help bring my plan to fruition, Zael says to the dark-skinned man. Zael gestures with his left hand and demon wing, also on his left, to the other being, an angel clad in black armor and a navy blue hood. The angel is Apathael, the angel of deception. The demon is Athen, second child and first son of the devil. What is the reasoning of your summon? Apathael asks, his voice being deeper than the man imagined, coming from the soft-skinned angel. Given the armor, he guesses he's an archangel, the battling angels. I wouldn't have been late if you said it was urgent, Athen adds. The demon looks more like an angel than what he is. His skin is gray, his hair long, wild violet, his irises bright yellow, and the two small horns jutting from his head black. He is shirtless and shoeless, and the lack of a shirt shows off a glowing tattoo that displays his loyalty to his father. Out of his back sprout two black feathery wings. My descendant has begun to unlock his potential. Hi, Vision GC. I'm reading a book I wrote. It comes out April 2nd, but this is one of my only forms of marketing, so I'm just reading as much as I can every day consecutively until we get to the end of the book. Right now, we're on page 47, and there are 321 pages right now of the book. What is the emphasis on black? What did I say? Was it when I said black feathery wings? I don't know why. I read things weird sometimes. But yeah, this is the unedited version of the first book I have in a series of books. I've written up to the 8th right now. I'm on the 8th. But in order for me to write more full time, I'm trying to get the book selling like crazy right now. And this is one of the only ways I can think of that's free in order to market it. There are other earlier versions, the earlier chapters of this book are in the VODs, and they're also, I have them permanently uploaded to YouTube. So in case you want to go back and figure out what the hell is going on, you can find it there, and this will also be uploaded to YouTube. All of these VODs will. What's it about? It's a superhero book. That's what I essentially boil it down to. Let me see if I have... Give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I have the description of it, and I'll just read that to you. Let me open that up. Because the only book I read is the Bible? Okay, you might not want to read this book. because they're swearing. I mean, it has angels in it and demons. Jesus is your superhero. Yeah, that's more than fair. I get that. um, let me see. Novels. Okay, here. Descended is a superhero series that takes place in the Virtuous universe. I have a company called Virtuous Comics. I haven't done anything with it yet. I just own the name. Uh, the word superhero here is a general term because it's much more. Aliens, angels, demons, gods, monsters, heroes, and villains all coexist within. So think of the Marvel or DC universe, but in written form because I couldn't find an artist that I could pay constantly that I also like the style. I'm very picky, so I just wrote it out. The series follows Jay Jones, a recent high school graduate that uncovers the truths of the world and the beings that lie within and beyond it. As soon as he receives a serum that was released to the public that gives him and others superpowers, he uses the newfound abilities to navigate this new world. The first book, the book that we're reading through right now in the series, follows the reader, throws the reader into the world as it begins with an alien invasion. Afterwards, it follows the protagonist, Jay Jones, as he learns gradually that all of these things were seen as essentially mythological, that were seen essentially as mythological exists. Jay Jones, lost on what he should do with his life after high school, gets involved with mobsters in order to pay his mother's medical bill and obtain the new serum available in Haven City. So right now in the story, he just received his superpowers, and he's registering with the. You're making it so hard to troll with your book actually sounding good. I know, that's why I'm trying to tell people. uh, that troll away, dude. But make sure you follow. um, that yeah, I'm trying to I'm trying to get it out. People don't really read nowadays, so I'm trying to do whatever I can to get some sort of following behind it because I don't have any sort of following right now on any sorts of social media. Um, so I'm just doing what I can to try to build something up. Me, I'm 22. I just graduated college last year in June. I had a screenwriting degree, um, and this is what I'm doing with it. Uh, I have a part time job right now to try and support myself, but this writing is what I want to do. And also, like this is fun right now. Streaming and interacting with people live. I've kind of always wanted to get into streaming, but never found something that I wanted that I wanted to keep doing every day. Uh, like I tried playing games before, but I like kind of just playing games without people watching me. Um, but doing something like this and letting people know what's sitting inside of my head is I like doing that. So that's why I'm just trying to stream every day, um, to to get this book out, to market the book. Um, right now I have an editor. Like I said, it comes out April 2nd, so I'm going through with some stuff right now, and I'm commissioning an artist hopefully to do the cover. I want it to look like a comic book cover, because it was originally supposed to be a comic book, and I had planned for it to be a comic book, but I thought this would be a little more solid, because not everybody reads comic books. Everybody can read a book, so um, we're doing this. Where was I? Jay stands in front of Commander Asai, who sits at her bland desk in her favorite gray pantsuit. The Alpha Corporation headquarters was pretty underwhelming. Jay half expected to see at least one flying vehicle around the compound, but it was gray from top to bottom, with groups of guards stomping around with alien-looking weapons and locks on every single door that wasn't Asai's office. The thought of the place intimidated him at first, but now that he was here, he realizes that had nothing to worry about. Asai slides Jay's sign up sheet across her desk. So you're Lux, she asks. Why that name? My dad would always refer to me and my mom as the light of his life. I miss him. He passed? Not exactly. We were told by the army that he was killed in action, but I don't think he died. Why is that? He was involved with the government deeper than just being an order following soldier. I just think he's missing, Jay explains. He puts his hands in his pockets. So, how does this work? Well, through saving people, if witnesses report seeing you, you are wired a certain amount of compensation depending on the level of the threat. The worse the threat, the more money, Asai explains. So this kind of works like One Punch Man, but in One Punch Man, it's done through donations. But in this, if witnesses, there's like an app, and witnesses report the heroes they see at the scene, their pictures and everything. And if witnesses report them at the scene and the threat is described, the heroes that were reported at the scene are wired a certain amount of money. So this is a lifestyle. It's rapidly growing for them, for Haven. Lux looks up at the ceiling. So now I added a little footnote. Jay will now be referred to as Lux, his hero name. And for the rest of the series, I refer to him as Lux, unless it's like a flashback or something. Lux looks up at the ceiling. I think I'm going to like this, though it's all happening so fast. The stronger you are, the more likely you can stop whatever threat. Asai's phone rings. She immediately picks it up. Hello? What? Why don't you have anyone there? Yeah, he's here. We're on our way. Asai looks at Lux. Well, kid, here's your first chance for a job. Lux and Asai barge into a disheveled operating room at Haven City Hospital with guards behind them. In front, a destroyed chamber stands Hector. His chin facing up, but his eyes stare into Lux's soul. Hello, he says. Added another footnote. Hector will now be referred to as Ache, his villain name. So Hector is a villain. Surprise, surprise, the neighborhood psychopath is now a villain. Lux glares at him with his pupils constricting. The thought that Ache mugged his mother and put her in the hospital shoots through his mind. Lux runs at Ache while Asai sits in the background with her arms crossed, watching the fight that's about to unfold. The guards lower their guard because they know that if Asai wanted to stop Lux, she'd tell them. Lux jumps on top of Ache with his fist raised. He punches Ache in the face repeatedly, with each punch getting his fist more bloody. But along with more blood, the green glowing energy returns and glows brighter with each punch Lux lands. Again and again and again and again and again and again. And even more. He then gets up and stands over Ache's body, looking at his own bloodied, glowing hands with an expression of shock as to what he just did. But the thought of having avenged his mother running through his mind. So, we're going to stop there. I know somebody just joined. Thank you for joining, but we're at page 50 now out of 321. Chapter 6 we will read tomorrow. Probably maybe around the same time, possibly. But thank you for anybody that watched and stopped by. Thank you both Brianna and Vision for stopping by and chat. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys.